Hi, everybody. So today is Saturday. That means it's time for family movie night. And today we are continuing on my classic musical month. And this is actually, there's only 2 more weeks left of classical musical month. So I'm going to have an extra week in April. So I may actually start Muppet May early. I'm not sure. Let me know what you want me to do for that last week. I kind of miscounted. I'm not sure what happened there. But anyway, we have classic musical month here and I'm excited to be talking about Camelot. This was from 1967, based on the 1960 Broadway musical. And it's this interesting musical because this was one of the last of the big Hollywood Broadway musicals from the late 50s and 60s. And this, I don't think it did as well as they wanted it to do. I think it was still a success, but it definitely had like mixed reviews. Wasn't the big hit that they were hoping it would be. And I think that a lot of the reasons for that are probably tied to the fact that they had Alan J. Lerner, who is the lyricist, Lerner and Lowe, of course, do the screenplay. And so this thing is like hardly cuts anything from the Broadway musical. And the Broadway musical is known for being really long, 3 hours long. And this movie is basically the same length as the Broadway musical. And usually they kind of cut things out, add things, move things around. With the musical, they really didn't do that much here. I think if I'm recalling, I think there's only one song that's cut. Deadly Virtues, that song was cut, but not much was cut from this Broadway musical in the transfer over. So this movie does feel laborious. It feels bloated. It feels too long. And I know that Sound of Music is also about the same length, and you don't get that same complaints from most people with the Sound of Music. But the Sound of Music was also really carefully constructed for the screen. It added new songs, it moved things around, it was carefully thought of for how is this going to work as a motion picture. Whereas I don't think that because they had this is just my guess, that because they had the lyricist as the screenwriter, he was probably going to be more beholden to his script for the musical. I don't know, but it's certainly not without value. And I mean, I really like the musical, and I think the strongest thing about it is the songs, is the really really good songs. And like I think most people like a King Arthur story. I think that I think that is very like appealing, a classic. It's one of just the classic stories, and it must have been fun at that time because the Camelot of America had just happened with the Kennedys. And I think that she was a big fan of this musical. I mean, I think it's all tied in together is how they became known as Camelot the musical. And the musical premiered in 1960, and JFK served as president from 1961 to 1963. So it's like all kind of there. This movie came out in 1967. So it's all part of that same time period. So, that must have been kind of fun and interesting and made it more appealing to that time period. I think that the biggest problem with this movie is the two male leads are just not that appealing or exciting or swoon worthy. Richard Harris as King Arthur. I mean, they're not bad. I he's fine, but just not no, he's no Christopher Plummer in Sound of Music, or nothing to like really be excited about with him. And then Franco Nero's Lancelot also just kind of bland, like just nothing too exciting. I'm not like super into his performance, their performance. He was actually dubbed. Gene Merlino ended up doing the singing voice, and it's pretty seamless. But I don't know, just both of those male leads I think are pretty. not too exciting for me. Then you have Vanessa Redgrave as Guinevere, and she's really good. She definitely owns this movie, and I like the way that this movie is feels pretty sexy for a Camelot movie. That I mean, it's easy on songs like the it's easy on songs like The Lusty Month of May, but I think that throughout there's just like a certain like Vanessa is really like playing up like as much of like the lust and the sensuality she can. This doesn't for what it is and how long it is, this doesn't feel that stuffy to me. It doesn't feel like a stuffy period piece kind of film to me because of her just sort of sexy performance. I think she has like she brings all the chemistry she can with both of the male leads, even though I think that they're both pretty flat, the male leads. She's like really trying and you can see like her yearning. And so her performance I think is very good in this movie. Like I said, I love so many of the songs. I really love the whole C'est moi. I'm sorry, I'm saying that wrong. I'm not French, but that whole sequence is really fun.
C'est moi. C'est moi, c'est moi. I blush to disclose I'm far too noble to lie.
I really love If Ever I Would Leave You. That's a favorite. And another Lancelot song.
If ever I would leave you, how could it be in springtime?
Of course, the whole Camelot is just a wonderful song and a wonderful sequence with the wedding and everything like that.
Camelot. Camelot. I know it gives a person pause.
Between I Loved You in Silence is a wonderful number from Lancelot and Guinevere together. So the music really does work, I think, quite well. And you can see why it won the Oscar for they used to have a best score in an adaptation. So that's why this won and that's the one this won for. It also won for production design, which totally makes sense. The movie looks absolutely beautiful, lush, wonderful. And that was a hard year to win. It won best costumes, and there was the same year as Bonnie and Clyde, which had such immersive, wonderful production design and costumes. So it was definitely a tough year for that category, for those categories. Even though I do think the pacing is off on this movie, it just feels like every scene takes longer than it needs to take. It feels like everything, you almost wish that you could watch it at 2x because it just crawls. And so even though I think that that is true, I do think that it is a beautiful looking movie. I think Vanessa Redgrave's performance is really good. I think the songs are really beautiful. And of course, it's this classic story again of King Arthur and what does it mean to be honorable? What does it mean to be chaste and loyal to one's companion? What does that mean for to be loyal to country, to king? All of those things are sort of in there and interesting to talk about. And I think that this would probably be more appropriate for like older kids if you were doing it for a family movie night. Would be more. I mean, I think the pacing would be hard for young kids, and also some of that like sensuality and like there's themes of like adultery and temptation and stuff like that. So that would be for more for older families. But I enjoyed watching it. I'm glad I got to see it. And I always love any chance I have to see Camelot on the stage. It's always a wonderful opportunity because of the good songs. And I wish that these two guys in this movie were a little bit better, but I still think it's a worthwhile film to watch. So let me know what you think of this movie. Where does it land for you? How do you feel about Camelot compared to other Lerner and Loewe pieces? My Fair Lady, of course, is their most famous musical. My Fair Lady, Brigadoon, Gigi. They have a lot of really classic musicals. So let me know what you think of Camelot in comparison to those. Like this video, please subscribe to the channel. I'd really appreciate it. And check out the Patreon group. You get to be part of watch alongs, bonus content, other fun stuff. So check that out. And we have the merch store. You got I Love Musicals shirt at the merch store. So check that out. And thanks so much, everybody. We'll talk to you later. Bye.